computer scientist in AI, artificial intelligence, air traffic systems with mapping. Currently, she does travel writing as Penguin Wanderlust. The website is Penguins Wanderlust. A very fantastic website with some very interesting articles about traveling, festivals, and camping. And she is a member of the Burner community, has attended Burning Man 6 times, as well as several other festivals here in the Pacific Northwest. Let's welcome Carolyn Pullman.
I guess I don't need the podium.
Oh, then we'll move it out of the way for you.
Thank you. I don't know what kind of vacations you take every year, or if you go to the same place every year. But for the last 6 years, my major annual vacation has not really been a vacation at all. It's been going into a fantasy world. How would you like to go to a world filled with giant golden dragons roaming through the streets? Or giant octopuses with their tentacles up in the air, spewing fire everywhere? Or a giant man perched on a flying saucer, an immense flying saucer? That is how Burning Man is every year. But every year, Burning Man is different. It's a big festival, about 70,000 people go to it every year in the Nevada desert, Black Rock Desert, and every year they create a city that only exists for 1 week of the year. So, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, the speech I have for you today is about not going to Burning Man. Last year, it was going to Waiting Man. It was completely different from any of the other 5 years. And we thought we were well prepared. I bought my brother's little RV. I drove it up from Louisiana with my son. So it was, wow, this year we're not tenting. We're going to be in an RV. It's going to be so cool. There's going to be 3 of us. We can sleep 3. It was going to be myself, my son, and our buddy Rowan, who's a diving buddy. So the 3 of us were all set. But life doesn't always happen the way you think it's going to happen. Sometimes things happen, like your son going to university gets a girlfriend. And then it was 4 of us going in the RV with bedding for 3. So no problem, we figured we'll figure it out somehow. So Rowan and I got the RV ready in Victoria, and we thought, well, maybe before we drive down, maybe Rowan should have a chance driving. So we go down my street, no problem. Get to the intersection. He signals to go left. He pulls out into the intersection, stops dead. I said to him, "What did you do?" And he said, "Nothing. I put my foot on the gas pedal and it died." And that was the end of the RV going to Burning Man last year. So we abandoned the RV in Victoria. It sat there for a month before it got fixed. So then it was, we go back to my garage and we look at this giant mound of stuff to take with us. And we go, there's no way that is going to fit into a Honda Accord with 4 people. It was like, don't need this, don't need this, don't need that. Pruned it down, got it into the car, went to Vancouver, got my son, and he said, "You didn't leave us much space." But we managed. And so then we drove down to Reno, and it's about a 12-hour drive. We got to Reno, got our supplies, by then there's no more room for 4 people in the car because there's like food and everything piled around us. Drive from Reno to the Playa, which is the flat area where they've done speed trials for cars and such. And we think, my son says, this is great, 2.5 hours to get to Reno. This is great. Fastest we've been in years. So there's this demarcation pavement, and then you step and you're on to the desert. And the desert is managed by the Bureau of Land Management, and you're not allowed to leave anything on it when you're done. So if you have you don't have any loose paper, and you don't drop anything on the ground. And if something spills, you have to dig it up, put it in a garbage bag, and take it home with you. There can't be anything left. So we got onto this Playa surface, and we sat there for a few hours because they had trouble with their tickets. People who had to go and pick up their tickets had to wait in a line. A friend waited for 8 hours in the line. But we were there waiting for them to process other people ahead of us. Hours passed, and you'd move up a little. Then more hours would pass, and you'd move up a little. And that was fine, except in the middle of the night, boom, crash. All of a sudden there was all of this lightning and thunder, and the rain came pelting down, the clouds were huge, and we were sitting in this car all cramped like this going, oh, geez, because usually you don't get any weather when you're there other than wind. And that passed, and then it got a little drier in the middle of the night. We didn't move after the first rain because we had to wait for the Playa to dry, because if you moved, it would leave tracks on the Playa, which are not allowed. And then there was another thunderstorm, more rain. So our chances of movement were even less. And then hail came, and this little bits of hail hitting the windshield. And I had had a friend who had been out there a couple weeks earlier, and somebody's window shield on their pickup truck actually got destroyed by hail 2 weeks before. So I'm watching this hail hitting the window worried. But that too passed, and then the day came, and then at 6 a.m. they did something never before done in the history of Burning Man. They closed Burning Man, and it became Waiting Man. And the sun came out, and they told us we couldn't move. And the heat got oppressive. People were stretched out looking for shade by their car, trying to get out of the sun. But eventually, 18 hours passed, which was more than the trip from Victoria to Vancouver to Reno to the Playa. 18 hours sitting, waiting. But then they came around and they said, we're going to let you in. And that was like a triumphant moment. And when we finally managed to get through the gates of the city, it was just so awesome and so overwhelmingly great to finally be in the city. And that was the end of Burning Man. And this year we're not going because we hold a grudge against that 18 hours. So thank you.